Hello, everyone. Welcome to SharePoint Power Hour. I'm Laura Rogers, and I have Joelle Jobson here on audio.
Hello, everybody.
And we're here. I'm not even sure if we should still call it SharePoint Power Hour because we talk about so many things having to do with Office 365 and the Power Platform. So
Exactly.
I don't know. The Power Hour might just have to be, the new power thing.
Yeah, power, space, power hour.
Yeah, power hour. Yeah. So today's topic, I've been doing this thing in the past couple of months lately where I'll send out the newsletter about Power Hour, but then I put buttons in the newsletter to vote for your favorite topic. So that's really fun. We'll get hundreds of people voting in there, and I'll usually just give two or three options. So this one was a really close call. I had three things in there. I had power virtual agents, I had power portals, and then which is like the external portal for power model driven power apps. And then I had a sort of which something was completely different than the other two, which was like a new site onboarding concept workflow thing. So it was really, really close. It was really close between the Power Virtual Agents and the new site workflow. It hovered between 1 and 2 votes for about 2 hours. It kept going up and up and up and up and back and forth. And so I was getting together. At first Power Virtual Agents was way ahead, so I was getting together all my Power Virtual Agent stuff. And I was looking at like the content from Ignite and stuff like that, and then the other one kind of caught up and was beating it for a while. So it was really exciting. I wasn't sure what we were going to be talking about today, but the winner is Power Virtual Agents, and that is part of the Power Platform now. So now we have Power Apps, Power BI, Power Automate, and Power Virtual Agents. So that is the fourth part of the Power Platform. And that is also a Dynamics CRM thing. So now, if your company has Dynamics CRM, uses Dynamics CRM, you probably know it. If you've never heard of it, it's similar to the concept. It's been Dynamics CRM has been around for years, but similar to the concept of Salesforce. It's a database of customers. They're competing with Salesforce, actually. It's a very intricate and detailed and elaborate and expensive database of customers and things that you can do with your customers and your leads and things like that. That's probably selling it short, just talking about it like that, because there's so much to it. We've done a project once where we didn't even use it for sales or customers necessarily. The customer we built this for, we built a bunch of custom Dynamics CRM, which is kind of like building SharePoint custom lists and forms on those lists. And it was basically to be able to have external forms for people to fill in forms and capture data. So Dynamics CRM is not just a list of customers. It's so much more. So, but it is expensive. So Power Virtual Agents are part of Dynamics CRM. So to prepare for today's session, I am a Microsoft partner. I went to demos.microsoft.com, and I think they actually changed it. They changed what it's called, but demos, that URL will get you there. And I spun up a completely brand new tenant, and there's a list of different types of tenants you can pick from when you do this. And I picked the tenant that's already got a bunch of Dynamics CRM data in it, Dynamics database. It's got a bunch of sample information, customers, and things like that. So I picked that one, and then I signed up for Power Virtual Agents within that one, so that so they'll have a lot of that already in there and some sample data in there. So that's what we're going to be working on. Power Virtual Agents is like a chatbot. It gives you the ability to, like on our website, we have one. It's a product called Chatra, and it's got a chat bot where people can ask questions. You can program it to answer certain questions certain ways, like, for example, when you vote for SharePoint Power Hour, as soon as you go to the voting page, I have the chat robot pop up and say thank you for voting. So that's just an example of one really simple thing. Usually we just chatting and we're just, talking to, have a live person talking. But that's the idea, is that the idea of having a conversation and typing, and you're talking to a bot, and the bot's programmed to answer certain things certain ways and ask certain questions. But this bot and Power Virtual Agent can tap into, the database of customers and know information about you and do further things. So I went ahead and went to, let's see, Power. Let me go ahead and get this on my screen, and I'll show you what this interface looks like. First of all, I'd like you all to go to this. This is what the, I'll go ahead and refresh this. This is what the link is that I shared out to you all when I was starting. I named my bot Mr. Robot. I've been watching that show. This is the link. It's a public link that I shared with you all to be able to try this out. And I put the link in the chat over in Slack. So that's one of the fun things about Power Hour, is that we have this live chat going on the whole time, and it's interactive. So this is going to be a really fun interactive one, because you all can be trying this out on this public link that I shared with you, and I can get analytics even about the things that you're asking it about. So I can, and so I'll go ahead and give an example of something that I asked, that I programmed in here, and then I'll show you how I did it. So so the idea, just real quick, is that since we have a SharePoint and Power Apps and Power Automate training company, iwmentor.com, that is our company. So I created this bot around theoretically things that people might be asking when they go to our site to learn about our training. So I said, what are your courses? So that's a common one we get, right, Joelle?
Yeah, really common.
So do you already know which product you'd like to learn about? And I put, it can be Power Space Apps or Power Apps. And then it says, let's see, what's your current level of knowledge? And so this is, I didn't finish this out. We're going to be building this more kind of as we go. I'm going to start it all over, and I'm going to just refresh this page, because I'm going to go the SharePoint route instead of Power Apps. So I'm going to start all over really quick. So learning stuff. Let's see what it does. Courses. So I could put the word learning as part of my training. So it will training the bot, so it will know the word learning means courses. So I'll type SharePoint. And then I've got SharePoint Beginner, SharePoint Power User, Power Apps, and Power Automate. And I'll put SharePoint Beginner, and it goes, great. Since you're a beginner, the perfect place to start will, and it's got a link straight to our starter subscription. And then it said, did that answer your question? Yes. And then I can rate my experience. All right. So that is just one. That's one where I actually did finish that sort of little path about the SharePoint Beginner. And let me show you another cool, watch this. So I'm going to type, pretend I'm starting all over. I'm going to type SharePoint Power User, like that. Oh wait, sorry, training class. So I think I had it so that it skips it. When I was testing it in the little test interface, it worked. So basically, since I already typed Power User, it was going to skip this question where it says, what's your level? So you already a power user, or do you want to become a power user? So that's what we're going to work on a little bit more. We're going to build it. We're going to build it out, and then see if I say I want to become a power user, then I'm done. Excellent. Thank you. No. And then I can do something like store hours. So some of these are built in. So I just type store hours, and this is some built-in data that's telling me about some of the just whatever. We don't have any locations, but that'll be locations. All right. So now let's go to the interface. So let me go to, it's powerva.microsoft.com, if Power Virtual Agents, if you want to go ahead and get started. And You guys are so funny. Yeah, see, okay, so that's one. Colleen makes a great point. So she says, I didn't realize this was related to Dynamics. I didn't necessarily realize it either until I started going in here and kind of saw what it was doing and what it was tapping into, and saw that it's highly related to Dynamics, and that it's, but it is just a preview. So as far as I know, they haven't said anything about pricing, but from what I can tell, it's part of CRM. So that might be a deterrent for some people. I'm not sure. All right, so this is my home. When you start off, you won't have any bots yet, and it'll just say you can create a new bot now. So I have this little bot icon. So my bot I already created is called Mr. Robot. I can create another one if I wanted to, and you give it a name. I'm going to go into the one that I already created. So the gist of all this is that you can test out your robot anytime with this bot tester, this panel right here, and I can close this panel, and then it's not the most obvious thing, but I can go back to test my bot and test it out here. So like type courses, and then when I do this, it actually pulls up the little workflow. It looks like a workflow, right? This is my bot. This is my agent that I trained. So then I can type Power Apps, and then it shows me that it's going down this little tree here, and my current level of knowledge, and I can say I'm a SharePoint power user. Anyway, so then it goes to end of conversation. So this is actually a different sort of thread, and it's called end of conversation because this is what we can actually send you from multiple topic to topic. So I'm going to say yes, excellent, all done. So now I'm going to reset that and hide. I'm just going to hide my bot, and let's talk about what these topics are. So what you'll start off with the topics, it will have a bunch of test ones in here. Like user topics are going to be the ones that you create, but it's got some examples in here already. And then it's got some system topics. So these are going to be the ones that you can send it to as part of sort of the workflow. You can say, all right, well, I don't, every single end of conversation, I want it to do the same thing, like with the little smiley faces and stuff. So those are system, and we'll get to that. Okay, so you can look at some examples. So let's look at a couple of examples really quick. So this is a really simple one. It starts off with, for this topic, what is going to trigger the bot to go to this topic, to start this topic. So it gives you some trigger phrases. So this is going to be one where this is really hours. I'm just going to rename this. So this is going to be trigger phrases, anything having to do with open, close, store hours, and things like that. So it's going to show you what triggers it, and then here's the gist over here. You click Go to Authoring Canvas. So when I go to the Authoring Canvas, that is when you get to this. And you're right, Stacy, you can create bots using Azure Bot Service. This is just a lot easier. I've done the Azure Bot Service before, and it's a lot of steps, and it's a lot of like more to the way advanced power user and type of level. This is more geared towards power user. You don't have to dig around in a bunch of places in Azure, and a lot of things you have to do to use the Azure Bot Service. In my experience, it's a lot easier. Okay, so this is when are you close. It's got the trigger phrases. Then it says when it gets triggered, what's the first thing it's going to do? It's going to say, I'm happy to help with store hours. It's got two different messages in here. I'm not sure why. I mean, because technically you could just have all this stuff in one message. And then it just jumps to the end of the conversation. So end of conversation, what is that? So every time when you're in these bots, you can click this plus, and you can decide what the next thing is, just like when you're doing a workflow, just like when you're doing a flow. Right, that's right, Sandy. She said it comes down to the benefit is what's it worth to not have to pay someone to answer mundane questions all day or create bots, or to create bots in a dev way. Like, do you have someone that's advanced that can go into Azure and do that, right? All right, so I can ask a question. I'm just kind of adding this in here just so you can kind of see what the interface looks like. And another thing, let me delete that. Another thing I can do is, oops, undo. Undo. Another thing I can do is call an action or show a message. So this is going to be a message, and this is actually jumping to another topic, and that's that end of conversation topic. So this one's really simple. All it does is it tells you hours. It doesn't do much. So let's go look at another one of the built-in ones. Okay, and you all can try this. So in the bot, in the link that I showed you, you can try this while I'm showing what it does, and you can see it responding to you. It's really fun. So this one, the trigger for this one is going to be having to do with location. So are there any stores around an area? Check store location, closest store, find me your nearest location. So I'm actually going to rename this one too. It's helpful to me. And then, so those are the trigger phrases. So you can try the trigger phrases, and I'm going to go to authoring Canvas and see what it actually does. So I'll be glad to help you find a store near you. Which location are you interested in? And it just has some very simple, just multiple choice options, Redmond, Seattle, or Kirkland. It doesn't do anything fancy like use location services. It is just asking the person to click. It's just going to have those little square options for them to choose something. So then you get a variable. So this is, you can rename your variable. So this is going to give me a variable of store location. And then when I put in 3 different choices, it automatically gives me 3 different conditions of what you want it to do. If it's equal to Redmond, do this. Seattle, do this. Kirkland, do this. So then it gives them each a message, and it tells you the address of, and it's even using the variable in here. You can use and insert your variable into the text. So that's pretty cool. And then they all converge together and the conversation ends. So now let's go to another one of the built-in ones. How do you link a bot to an entity? Well, let's talk a little bit more about what the interface does, and then we'll talk about where you can put it. So this one is going to be things that someone wants to buy. And so let's go delve into that one. Okay, to which state will you be shipping? So this is going to tap into what's called an entity. So entities are going to be lists of things that you can predefine. So I can identify, so instead of having to, I'm not going to give them a drop-down list or something of every possible state they can pick from, but this is going to, I have predefined the list of states in this entity, and they're going to type the name of their state. So you might want to try that, try it out. So let's see, let's go test my bot. Buy my product. Okay, and I'll type AL. Oh, see, it doesn't know. All right, so let's go look at this list of entities of states that it's using. So it's got cities, see these, it's got money, numbers, phone numbers, products, so state. So they've only defined 3 states in here. They didn't bother defining all the other ones. So let me go ahead and hide the bot. And I wonder if it will let me, ooh, it won't let me edit this. So it's pre-built. Okay, so this is one, since it's in preview, they just pre-built this list of states. And it doesn't let you edit it for some reason, but theoretically you'd have all the states listed. And then you could say the user input could be just like AL for Alabama, or type the whole state out, and you can have abbreviations listed in here for all the states. So that's going to be where it's tapping into like a whole extra list of stuff. Like I put products in here, and I put this as products that people might ask about in my training, and synonyms for each of those products. See, like Power Apps, Canvas Apps, Power Automate, Flow, that kind of thing. So let's go back to the topic. So now that we saw where that was coming from, it's got all these different states. Oh, interesting. So they said if it's California, Washington, or Oregon, it goes down here, but everything else is going to have an additional shipping charge. So they've got this condition. So it all logically, if you're used to doing flows, it makes sense as to the way it goes down the path. So if it's any of those other states, there's going to be an additional shipping charge. Is that acceptable? Which is going to be a yes or no, Boolean. And then it puts it in a variable. So then this condition, if they click OK to the extra shipping rate, then it jumps down. It takes all these things and this OK one, and it points them down to this next question using these little lines that you can drag. What item are you interested in purchasing? And then it's got these 3 specific things to choose from. And then you go even further, and you can say, you all, try this out. And the bot, you can choose one of those, and then depending on which one you pick, they wrote these cute little responses. Gaming computer, and they mentioned Sudoku. And then I'm adding, and then it puts this variable of what item they selected. So when they select an item, see, it puts it in here as a variable. So the name of what they pick here is a variable. So that way you can say you're purchasing this blah, blah, blah variable. And then go to your cart, and then it's sending them to that end of conversation. Now let's go look at the next one. So this one is going to be, what's the best product for me? I want a laptop, business laptop. What is a product for the home? I'm a home user. So those are kind of, feel free to try one of those out. Let's see. I'm going to try one out in the little test bot. I want a business laptop. Reset. Cool. So the Contoso blah, blah, blah has enough power and memory to last you years. Sure, add it to my cart. And then then I'm done. Great, excellent. All right. So it shows you how it's jumping around to different parts as you go. And then it jumped to the confirm success topic. Okay, so let me go back to my lesson 4. And I didn't even actually look at these lessons when I first started playing with it. You know me, I just jumped in and started poking around and trying stuff and doing new things. But so it's just looking at this usage type here. So usage type is going to be one of these entities. So that's interesting. So they make it smart so that I didn't have to click one of these, did I? So the usage type, it was inferred from just the way I asked the question. Pretty cool, right? So this thing actually is set. I think it's already set to skip the question. It might not be, but it's going to go down a certain path depending on what the usage type is. And then usage types are defined as entities. Let's go see what they did in here. Maybe not. Yeah, usage type. And then I've got home, user, game, business. So in the first question that I typed business laptop, I think. Since I used the word business, it already categorized me as a business user. So it didn't have to ask me this. It was part of my question. Pretty cool. Okay. Now let's go to mine that I started creating my training. So we get people asking about our training on our site. And so I'm saying, what do I want the trigger to be? And again, y'all feel free to try this out, except I haven't finished it. This is going to be the demo. We're going to build some of this out and build the logic. So these are all the things that I determined what the trigger phrases could be. Need to learn. Can add need to learn. So anything that they ask us commonly, right, Joelle? Can you think of anything else, Joelle, just off the top of your head that we'd want to trigger for somebody who wants? I'm going to be asking you a lot of questions.
When is your next live class?
Do what?
When is your next live class?
Ooh, that one actually might be, because I have a branch in here that has to do with the live class. We'll see. I'm not. Let's see. I'll just type next live class. All right. Okay, and I'll put live online course, stuff like that. And it doesn't have to be exact. It is learning as I'm doing this. Okay, so now let's go to the authoring canvas. And I've got my trigger phrases, and then it says, it sounds like you're interested in selecting the right training class. Do you already know which product you'd like to learn about? So I actually chose this skip question. So if they already typed the name of the product they're interested in their question, I have it so that it skips it. So it's going to skip this question if they've already provided a response to it. So like I'm going to say SharePoint Power User Training or something like that. Start training. I didn't do one of the trigger phrases. Yeah. See, this worked a few minutes ago. I'm not sure why it's asking me again. All right, so let's go try this out a little bit more. Okay, so it sounds like you're interested in selecting the right class. Do you already know which product? And then I defined a list of products over in my entities, because that way I'm able to do synonyms and things like that. So if you want them to have to pick from a display of a list of products, then you can check these boxes. But you don't have to. You can just, I didn't check any of the boxes, so they can just type the name of whatever product it is. And then when I defined it in the entity, I defined all the synonyms. Like SharePoint, they might type SP, and Power Apps versus Power Apps. So that's where I defined. So select options for user is where if you want it to prompt them, you can do that. And then I'm putting var product is what I'm calling the variable of what product they selected. And then what is your current level of knowledge? And then I have student level, and I can take these options and not display them. So I'm not going to display boxes. I'm just going to ask just freeform, what's your level of knowledge? Because a lot of people use sort of some of the typical things, right, Joelle? I'm going to save this. And let's go look. So I defined student level in here. Student level of some common things that people put as their level, like SharePoint Power User and SharePoint Beginner. And anyway, so that's where I defined them and all their synonyms. Can you put a link in the answer? Yes. So I did put a link, like for example, if you choose SharePoint Beginner, I'd put a link to the class. So now let's go back to the topic. And since I'm not going to prompt them, I'm not going to ask what their level is. I'm just going to let it, start training. So I'm going to trigger it now. So it's triggering my training topic. And then I'm going to say SharePoint Power User, and let's see if it skips it. It still didn't skip it that time. It did it correctly one time. Anyway, this is a beta. It's a preview, and I'm just learning it. Okay, so it's asking me my current level of knowledge. I'll type Power User again. And then now this is one we get commonly, isn't it, Joelle? Are you a power user or you want to become a power user? Right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that's a really common tricky one because they'll come to class and say power user, but what does that really mean? Are you someone, I mean, because you could get someone who's never tried it before and never even seen SharePoint and they want to be a power user. But you could have actual power users. So already a power user or wanting to become a power user. And then since you want to become a power user, this is a great place to start, and it's a link directly to our level 2 intermediate. That's our power user training. So then let's go talk about, I'm going to hide the spot, some of the other, so I left some dead ends in here. So I'm asking, I've got my trigger phrases. Now I'm on the end of conversation topic because it jumped me to that when I was testing it, so that's kind of a little confusing. Let me go back to the training one. All right, so if it's asking them which product, it's asking them what's your current level of knowledge, and then if their level of knowledge is SharePoint beginner, so I get to pick it from this drop-down box, then I'm just giving them this link. And then the next thing that I'm doing, let me remove this and show you what it does. I'm actually going to another topic. So by default, if you want to click in the conversation, you've got two options. You can end with a survey, or you can transfer to an agent. And transfer to an agent, you actually have to have that is something separate that has to be set up when you choose that option. And I'll show you where that setting is. But I could choose in with a survey, but I can choose go to another topic, which is a topic they have already defined in that list of system topics called end of conversation. So that's where you can predefine little sort of common chunks of things that you want to do in your little workflows here. I'm calling them workflows. That's what they look like. So like if I go look at the entity called the topic called end of conversation, what does it actually do? So it says, did that answer your question? It gives them a Boolean yes or no. Then it says, if it's equal to true, then I'm redirecting them to another topic. It's called confirmed success. If it's false, it's redirecting them to confirmed failure. So then when I go to a topic called confirmed success, so it's kind of going down this rabbit hole, right? Success, what does it do? It says that's what gives them the star rating. Thanks for your feedback. Can I help with anything else? And then you can redirect them somewhere else. So you can really go down a rabbit hole. Let's see what confirmed failure looks like. Confirmed failure. Sorry, I wasn't able to help better. And then it's asking them what else they want to do. So this talk to an agent concept is, let's go up here. See, it's got some settings. So when I choose transfer to an agent, this actually says, and I tried it already, but it didn't work because it's a whole other thing you have to set up in Azure. If you want to use Dynamics 365 Omnichannel for customer service, that was the only option in here. Then it says, learn more about handoff to Omnichannel for customer service. So that would be basically you have agents and they are logged into Dynamics CRM, and that's where all the customers are. And you can go watch some of those videos if you're interested. Go watch some of those videos that I linked to from the sessions from Ignite. They do full demos of what it would look like as the actual agent, the person sitting, answering, helping customers. And so you can have the transfer to agent actually would cause a pop-up to go to the agent in more of the CRM environment, where then they could look at information about the customer and help them further. Yes, it does provide a log. So let's go look at some more of that stuff. So I'll go add, I'm not doing the transfer to an agent, but let's go, I'm going to add a couple more things to my topic, and then we'll go look at publishing it and analytics and stuff like that. So let me go ahead and just finish this out. So you just got to kind of think through what the usual things are that you would ask them in that situation. So if they are already a power user, then you'd probably want to take them over to this one. Like if they're already a power user, to me, the next step that they would go to would be the Power Apps and Power Automate stuff. So if they are going to choose that, then I would want to say, which style of class are you interested in? So I want to, if I'm already a power user, maybe I can move this. I can't move it over, but I can go to another topic, show a message. So call and action, let me show you what that is real quick. So call and action can let me do a flow. It can go let me trigger a flow. Isn't that cool? So this is where I can go have some predefined flows, and that's where I can tie into SharePoint and CRM and just, you know, all the services you can tie into a flow, and actually can go do something in flow with this data. And then ask a question is going to be the one that we've seen in several of these examples already, where I can choose from a set of these multiple choice, these options that are already predefined, or I can just start typing some options here and just, you know, like yes, no, true, false, whatever I want to say. But if you have ones that you use, options you use a lot, it's going to be a good idea to define them as entities. So I'm going to delete the ask a question. And then another thing I can do is show a message, and that's just going to be, you know, free form, typing text in here. And then another thing I can do is jump to another topic, which is going to prompt me with a list of topics, just all the topics that exist, and then I can end the conversation. So those are my options. Let me see if I can, that whole thing where you drag the little lines to each other, I can't really get that to work. As I saw the lines converging like in some of those other ones that we were doing, but I have to figure out how to make that actually work. So let me see. Let me see if I can drag that over here. Like that. Yeah, maybe. I think that worked. My topic checker is not liking that. See? Something's, yeah. So this is kind of floating out here by itself, and it's not connected to anything now because I broke it. So I can undo whatever I just broke. All right, so then basically you're just going to keep going down the branch, and then just make sure that it actually does something at the end of each one. So if I want to say live online, if they pick live online, I want to send them a link to my schedule of classes. So here's my schedule of classes. I'll copy that and go back over here, and then great. Here's our schedule. And then, so that's going to take them to the schedule, and then I can make it, you know, nicer looking there. Let's see. And then I'd have to define what I want to happen, like is it the end of the conversation? Then I would say end of conversation, and then that would do all that predefined stuff we already have. Okay, so again, you just kind of define and just make sure that you end everything. Now, I'm going to say this and look at something really cool to do with topics that it can do. It can suggest topics for you. Watch this. So what I did, and I did this before we started, is I went to my own website and I went to just a bunch of my pages. So I went to my home page, I went to my page where I compare plans, our page with Modern Bootcamp Workshop, and I went to like a few of the actual courses that we teach, like our Ultimate Plan. So I entered in a few of these URLs, and I just kept adding, and I just added them all to the list, and then I clicked Start. So then what it did was it came up with these 21 suggested topics for me just by going, it analyzed my website. Isn't that neat? Isn't that cool, Joelle? Now, I don't know if it came up with anything useful or anything I can use, anything I'd want to put in here. But so what you do once you've run that to go look at your website is you can go open each one and look at what it's suggesting to you. So this one's, what was that?
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so this one has just, it grabs some verbiage from one of the pages, and then I can choose delete suggestion, and I can add it to my topics, but I can add it to my topics and edit. So that's probably what I'd want to do with a lot of these, like Modern SharePoint Bootcamp. That doesn't say much, right? That's pretty useless the way it is, so I'd probably want to add to the topics and edit. And then once I do that, then it's saying, okay, so what are your trigger phrases? And then I could say, well, if somebody says boot camp at all, that can also be another trigger phrase. Yeah. So then I can go to the authoring canvas and tweak it. All right. And then when I'm done, so that's where you can go look at all your suggestions and add them. Then I can publish it. So all the changes that I've just made while we were talking, I went ahead and published it. And then here's it's right here on the page, this demo website. That is this thing. That is this link that I sent to you all. So any of you can actually try this and go and hit publish and go to the demo website right now with your own and just try it out and have it on just this little test site. Now, you'd probably want to have it on your website or somewhere else useful. So that's what the channels thing is for. So channels is going to, first of all, the demo website, that's where I've already got it. But look at this, I can add it to Teams. I can add it to Facebook and chat with my customers on Facebook. I can add it to Slack, Cortana, GroupMe, so email. So these are all these sort of additional services that you can add it to. So if I pick Slack here, there's configuration that I need to do in Slack. It's probably, I'm just guessing, it's probably Slack's going to charge me more for having something custom. I'm not sure. I hadn't tried this. I can go to Microsoft Teams. So if I do this, then it's got all these instructions. So each different one that you pick, like Facebook, is going to give you all these instructions and, app ID, secret, page ID, and you've got to enter all this data in. But then you could use this virtual agent in all these different places. Pretty cool, right? Yeah. So then you've got authentication. So this is if you want to allow the bot to verify a user's identity. Now we have on our own training site, IDB Mentor, we have a LMS system behind the scenes, and it has its own authentication. And it now the plan that we have doesn't include single sign-on to integrate with a bunch of various services. So I don't, because I've never needed it, I've never tried it. So I think that my plan with my LMS system would probably need to be a higher plan to be able to try that out. So, but what you're going to do is you have to go to whatever that other system is that you have, and you have to do all this authentication stuff. So the idea behind it is that when people are on your website and asking you questions, if they're logged into if they're logged into IW Mentor, they're logged into your system, whatever it is, then you'd be able to immediately just know who they are and tap into that. Isn't that cool? So I've got custom, I'm not sure, let's see, custom website. Yeah, so this is where I could take this thing right here and I could put this on our LMS system, but I don't have I can make it have the bot that pops up and everything, but I don't have the authenticate stuff that I still would have to ask them who they are. So another thing, and if you watch those demos from Ignite that it goes into, is just all the coolness that you can tap into in CRM. And this little example tenant that I created has all these business process flows created. This is all CRM. This is all related to model-driven apps, Dynamics CRM. This has absolutely nothing to do with SharePoint and Canvas apps. But these are a bunch of pre-created business process flows that are in this little demo tenant that I have. So theoretically, I could make it go call one of those. So let me see. Any questions? Let me see. Email bot. I think that's what it would do. Let's go see what that email. So let's see. Copy and provide information below to your developers so they can use our sample code to integrate with the channel. So then you'd have to go here and do all this stuff. And get that. That does look like it involves code. So theoretically, it makes it sound like it would be responding via email. I'm not sure. All right, so what else do we have? Oh, analytics. So you've got your customer satisfaction, your analytics. So if you have analytics for each topic, but I'll just go to the overall analytics, and this is where you're going to have the little smiley faces, the survey people take when they do it will make a difference. So this is why I had you all go try the bot out. So keep doing more things in there and try various things in the bot so we can kind of see more data here. So that will really help. So it looks like 11 people have tried. Come on now, there are like 30 of you in here. Everybody needs to go try it. I'm just kidding. All right, so it looks like 11 people have tried it and 82% engagement rate, resolution. So we didn't resolve everything. So I guess I'm assuming that means that we didn't go through to the end of the workflow and have like an actual end of conversation resolution to each conversation that was happening. So then we've got lesson 1, a simple topic. That was that one that I was showing you that has to do with store hours. And training rate impact -10%, probably because I didn't put a final like ending to every one of those little branches, right? And so it's kind of like it's in the negative now. And then escalation rate drivers and abandon rate drivers. So I can see that the training one would have a high abandon rate since I didn't finish building out all my little branches because I was, building them as I was demoing it. So then I can go to the detail of each one of these. So I can get to the detail like this, or when I go to a particular topic like training, I can go directly to the analytics here as well. So this is going to be the training analytics. And it looks like only 4 people have tried out the training analytics. And yeah. My escalation rate was 25%. Abandon rate, 75%. Again, that's my fault for not building out all the branches to have a result at the end. Let's see. And let's go look at another topic, the lesson 1. And we'll go to its analytics. And in the demos, in the Ignite demos, that they actually showed a whole bunch more detail. Now, I'm picturing big companies with call centers and just a lot of staff, as agents helping people that are asking questions on their website. And so that's the kind of thing that you picture. And that's like True Green was one of the customers that they had an example of people asking about, problems with their lawn and things like that. So then this is there's going to be a whole dashboard just for that whole agent interface showing, how well they're doing responding to the customers. So this is just the analytics for that one topic. And it does have a 100% resolution rate because everyone finished down to the end of the topic and didn't, wasn't abandoned in the middle. All right. We got 10 more minutes. I can go work on my topic some more. Any last question? Oh, thanks, Trevor. That's so sweet. You think you're going to be using this? Is this something that your company, do you have Dynamics? Would you be implementing something like this? Go ahead and turn this on. And you can jump straight to the authoring canvas for any of these too, right here. And I'll go ahead. Oh, it didn't turn on. There we go. It's a little slow. and then I have to publish it again. All right, let's go back to my, Joelle, what do you think? The link to the bot, the link to the demo that I wanted you all to try is this one. That's just the generic link that it gave me on that site. All right, and then let's see. All right, so if they're SharePoint power user, they're beginner, we've got that one taken care of. You go to level 1 starter. If they're a power user, you decide if they are one or if they want to become already a power user or not. Let's see, let's do another one where we ask them if they're a customer, if they're a current student. Okay, so I'm going to do a new topic. New topic, current student. And then stuff like that. Were you going to say something, Joelle?
Oh no, I was just laughing at the meme in Slack.
So if we're not using Dynamics, are there any other methods to pass to live agent? Well, you'd have to be using Dynamics to use the virtual agent in the first place because it's part of Dynamics, from what I can tell. So I think that it does have other ways to have a live. So in the live agent thing, the transfer to agent, it theoretically would have multiple things listed here, but I know nothing about, see it says learn more about handoff, so I'll send you that link. Handoff to a virtual agent, because I don't know. Well, Nick, power user is not a product. He says, what, do you already know which product you'd like to learn about? And he typed power user. So, okay, so that's just an engagement hub that is being used by human agents such as omnichannel for customer service. So theoretically, it makes it sound like this omnichannel thing, I've never heard of it, is not the only thing that exists, but I don't know, I just put the link to that in the chat window. So that is, they would give you more types of agents to be able to transfer to. It sounds like it involves code, though. I'm not sure. All right. So now let's ask. I'm not going to do a message. I'm going to do ask a question. What's your email address? And then let's see. Age, Boolean, city, color, continent. Okay, so let's go see. I don't know what this identify email entity means. So let's go look at that. Oh, okay, so that's just going to get them to, oh, it's just kind of showing like examples of how you get somebody's email address. All right. Okay, then go back to current student. And then I'm going to try some of this stuff that taps into Dynamics, but this is the part of Power Hour. It's the last 5 minutes of I hadn't done this part yet. So call an action. Let's see. I think it would be flow. Create a flow. Okay, it's already got the trigger for me, and it's already got my what they're sending. Let's see, var1 email. I should have renamed the variable before I did this. But let's see, I'm going to go get record. I don't know what all these different, see, I don't know Dynamics. See, it's all premium. Get record. Yeah, I guess it checks the email format validity. That's right. Yeah, Nick, I didn't put power as one of the synonyms because it could be power apps or power user or power automate, or so power in itself is not going to tie that to a specific product. It's not going to know. Okay, I'm Contoso. Maximize that. My entity. I think this is going to be customers or accounts. Now, also, they did demo this, tying it into Dynamics and the customer data in those Ignite sessions, so they're going to know a lot more about that than I do. And there's a ton in there that is the AI that they demonstrated as far as what it knows about, once it has all that customer data and that rich database about just information it can get about the people and what they've bought and stuff. It's very, very cool. Let's see. Customer. Hey, Chris, do you remember what that default sort of customer list in CRM was called, the entity was called? Yeah, it had like a built-in main customer list that was sort of hard-coded to everything that we did in there.
I remember there being like contacts.
Was it contacts? Yeah.
That's the one I remember.
Contacts. Okay. Yeah, that's got to be it. Because it doesn't have just a customer one. Okay, thanks. See, yeah. So I would have to know more about Dynamics and how to actually go get that piece of data about that person. And I think that if you have that authentication tied to it, then that'll really help. Then you wouldn't have to do all these extra steps. But basically, it's once you get to that part of your bot conversation, then you can make it trigger the flow. And then you'd want it to respond. So really what you're going to do is not down here, is you're going to do something in between. It's going to get triggered, and then you're going to do something in your flow, and then it needs to respond to the Power Virtual Agent, because whatever happens in the flow, it needs to send it back to whatever conversation is going on. So you're going to do something or go get something, and then go have that data go back to the virtual agent. Does that make sense? All right, let me go. I'm going to go ahead and I've gotten to the point where I'm beyond just, the quick demo of what it does out of the box. And so we got basically a good overview, a good sort of feel of just getting around in here and how to quickly create a Power Virtual Agent, what the topics are, what the entities are, and how just some concepts of maybe ways that you could use this in your business by using it to chat in Facebook or Slack with your customers, and then tying it together with the authentication, your own authentication for your own site. So hopefully that got you a good high-level overview. Now, my demo, this doesn't do justice, so I highly recommend, I put a few links over in the general channel. I highly recommend taking a look at those Ignite videos, as Ignite presentation about really what these things are capable of. So let me flip back over to this. All right, any last questions? You all try that out and you could try it in your own if you have a demo tenant too. And it's in preview right now. All right. That was a really close vote today. So I don't know. I haven't decided if we might just not even have a vote next time. We might just do, because it was by one vote for that other topic that we were going to do. So I might just do that one. Haven't really decided. That one's thanks everybody for coming. And you all go try this out and let us know further what you think. And try out that link that I sent for my little test virtual agent. All right. Thanks, Joelle.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.